They hadn't seen each other for a very long time. It felt like an eternity. Only their voices on the phone and messages in chat formed the bridge between two different worlds. He lived far away, in another country, in a foreign city, where everything was new and strange. She stayed at home, among familiar streets, but in her heart, a restless longing for their meeting was growing. They called each other whenever they had a free moment, sharing everyday stories and planning a future that seemed so unreachable. He asked her to come visit him, but she hesitated. Sometimes it felt like something held her back, doubts, fear, or simply the unknown. But one day, having overcome all uncertainties, she finally took the leap. She bought train tickets and prepared herself for a meeting that would change everything. He was preparing too. Living in a small room, he booked a hotel room and arranged a few excursions, wanting every moment to feel special. And then, the long-awaited day arrived. He stood on the platform, a little nervous, but with joyful eyes. The train pulled in, and his heart began to beat faster. As she stepped off the carriage, he saw her, almost unchanged, with that same charming smile and shining hair. Hi, he managed to say. Hi, she replied. I arrived safely, though I was a bit nervous. It was my first such long journey. He kissed her cheek, took her suitcase, gently hugged her by the waist, and they walked together toward the car. By the car door, he held a bouquet of roses, her favorite flowers. I remembered, he said softly. You've always loved roses. She smiled, and her eyes glowed warmer than ever. They arrived at the hotel in the evening, when the city had begun to fall asleep under the gentle hum of the wind and the soft yellow glow of streetlights. The room was cozy, nothing extra, but thoughtfully designed down to the smallest detail. A spacious bed, large windows overlooking the evening city, warm lamplight. She carefully placed her suitcase in a corner and approached the window. It's beautiful here, she said, gazing at the distant lights. And peaceful. I wanted you to feel good, he replied, standing beside her. That evening they talked for a long time. They sat on the floor, leaning against the wall, sipping tea from paper cups, laughing over childhood memories and school mischief. Time disappeared. It seemed to vanish completely when they were together. The next day, they walked the city like tourists and lovers at once. He showed her ancient streets, and she photographed everything as though for the first time. They visited a museum and took a boat tour where the wind tousled her hair, and he watched her with a smile, seeing in her something extraordinary. In the evening, returning to the hotel room, they talked again for hours. They lay on the bed, face to face, discussing their future, their fears and dreams. You know, she said quietly, I thought I would never be able to open up to someone again. But with you, everything feels so simple, as if I'm already home. He didn't reply with words. He just touched her cheek. And their first kiss happened. Without rush, without intensity, tender, quiet, as if all the evening light had gathered in that moment between them. They spent the night together, not like two strangers meeting on passion, but like two people who had spent years walking toward each other without realizing that the end of the journey would be an embrace where they no longer wanted to be anyone else. Their bodies were close, but even closer were their souls. They touched not just skin, but something deep, something hard to describe, and both felt truly good. In the morning, they woke up together. The room still smelled of coffee and roses. She lay wrapped in a blanket, and he watched her, thinking only of one thing: how hard it would be to let her go. The day of departure came too soon. They stood again on the platform. He held her hand and remained silent. She smiled, even though tears glistened in her eyes. She said, "Thank you for every single moment. I want this to be not the end, but the beginning. And I do too," she whispered back. "I'll come back. I promise." The train was coming. She hugged him, firmly, warmly, for a long time, then stepped on the train steps and looked back one last time. "Write me, okay? Every day. Like before, and more." The train pulled away. He stood until she disappeared from his view. His heart clenched, but at the same time, it was calm, because now he knew for sure she exists. And between them, something real,